Good morning. Fred, can you do the intro?
Hey, good morning, all. This is Fred Parker, and thank you so much for joining our webinar. So, this webinar would be regarding the unlocking financial efficiency in the cloud, a guide to FinOps best practices. So, to present this webinar, I would like to introduce Skip. So, Skip, you can take it over.
Sure. Good morning. My name is Skip Tamke. I'm the Senior Director of Solutions and Services here. And our topic today is Unlocking Financial Efficiency in the Cloud, a guide to FinOps best practices, utilizing the proprietary software artificial intelligence in ZENfra. I'd like to thank everyone for joining this morning. I believe we've only got one attendee, and that would be Michael. So if you guys want to open up the microphones, and we will begin with an introduction. Michael, Mike, would you mind introducing yourself? Let us know who you are, what company you work for, and what your role is. Okay, if you don't want to talk, that's great. If you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand or just pipe in during the course of the presentation today. So, Fred, do we have a starting poll?
Yes, Skip, we can launch right now.
We'll give you a moment to answer the poll, and then we'll get started. Okay, let's get underway. So to start with, sorry, my dock is in the way and I really can't see everything that's going on. So let me get rid of that. Okay, so the idea of traditional IT cost management, why that doesn't work well. And just going to go through some of those items right now, and we can go through that. So number one, visibility. Finance teams lack a really clear insight and understanding of what's going on in the IT world. They know what they're paying, they know how long they're paying it for, but they don't quite know the business function that's being delivered. Second is complexity. It's really hard to manage all of your licensing, all of your IT costs, all of your software spend, all of your subscription spend, and all of your cloud spend in one central location. Everybody manages it from either their accounts payable system where you only see limited things, or you just handle things in spreadsheets, which can get out of hand and get out of date very, very quickly. Three, difficulty. It's hard spotting trends. It's hard spotting where you might find the ability to save money or optimize your spend. Four, underutilization of resources. In every situation, you've got resources in an organization that are either going to be overutilized or underutilized. You could have multiple cloud subscriptions. You could have unused capacity in on-prem HCI infrastructure. You could have servers that are powered we call those zombie servers that are taking up power and cooling and network bandwidth and ports and stuff like that, that you just don't know that they're there or they're being used. And finally, you've got inability to manage everything together in one holistic place. So what is the FinOps framework? I think I may have skipped a slide. I didn't. Okay. So what is the FinOps framework? FinOps is an operational framework and a cultural practice, which basically brings together all of the disciplines in your organization that have to do with your IT spend, be it from the end user, technical, financial, or management team, and brings them all together to one place to collaborate and help making decisions better in an organization to decide where the spend should be happening, where the spend could be optimized, and where your resources are being utilized or underutilized. And the idea here is there needs to be a lot of collaboration. You need to be driven by business value of on-prem, cloud, and software infrastructure. Everybody needs to take ownership for their usage of resources. FinOps data has to be accessible and timely to all parties involved. You need a centralized team that drives this. It can't just be what somebody does one day a month when it's time to cut the bills. And finally, you need to be able to take advantage of the variable cost models that exists within cloud and software licensing. So what are we thinking about when it comes to managing best ops practices? Well, you've got to come up with FinOps practice operations. You need someone whose job it is to handle FinOps. You need to have education enablement. The organization needs to understand what the principles are between financial operations. You need to have a policy around cloud, software, and subscription governance. You need to be working with your business people on invoicing and chargeback. Make the data center and the cloud a profit center rather than a cost center. You need to be able to assess your position at the very beginning and then on an ongoing basis. You need to be able to onboard and offboard workloads effectively. You need tools to be able to do all of this. And finally, you need to manage all of the intersecting disciplines. I'm not going to go through everything on this slide. This is a really great slide from the FinOps Foundation that when we send this out at the end, I think this is one of those things you should almost make it your desktop when you're looking at your desktop every day to be able to think about and work with this on a daily basis to understand what the financial impact is of technical and business decisions. So what is the FinOps maturity model? Well, it's inherently iterative, and maturity of any process, functional activity, or domain will improve as you do it. And the way to start is to start. Crawl, walk, run approach. So what is crawl? The crawl is basically the baseline. There's not a whole lot of reporting and tooling. The measurements only provide insights about the benefits of what you're currently spending, not looking into the technical value and the business value underlying. It's basic KPIs for the measurement of success. Just saying, I would like to reduce my cloud software subscription and license spending by 10% over the course of the next year. Just setting that as a basic goal. Then once you've set those goals, you start building basic processes and policies around those measurements. Then you start to get an understanding of the capability, but not all the teams in the organization are aware and active in what's going on. And the idea here is typically when you're in the crawl phase, you're looking at low-hanging fruit. You're looking for multiple subscriptions. You're looking for a way to get rid of some overall licensing costs. You're looking for the things that you can see without looking too hard in an organization. When you start to get into the walk mode, that's when you're starting to really get into a systematized process of thinking of FinOps as a part of your business rather than just looking at the bills once a month or once a quarter or once a year. You start to understand the capability of everything that's involved in your spend process. And you start to look at the difficult edge cases. Okay, what is a business application that is using up a lot of resources, but is not giving back to the business a whole lot for the resources that they're using? Beginning to automate some of those processes and understanding where the outliers are through use of automation rather than having to pour over spreadsheets. The idea of having red, yellow, green flagging of contracts, subscriptions, and infrastructure. Looking at those difficult edge cases and finding ways to improve those. Finally, looking at a medium to high goal KPIs to set on the actual measurements. Understanding that, okay, I am spending this much on AWS this month and on an annual basis, and it is not giving me the business value. Or I've got too many subscriptions to various cloud services, and I need to think about consolidating those things. When you finally get into run mode, That's where it happens on a regular daily basis. Someone has a job to always look at these things and share those with the team. You're starting to really address not just your difficult edge cases, but you're starting to address every case because you've built up a set of parameters that allow the filters to only tell you the things that need to be looked at today or this quarter or this half. And finally, you're starting to put in automation where you're beginning to build the business rules around all of your infrastructure, be it financial, technical, or business, and understand that, okay, this is our baseline. Anything that deviates from that baseline or anything that deviates from our plan, we need to be taking a look at. So what can this benefit you? One is if you've got cost identification and alert flags, right off the bat, by looking at low-hanging fruit, you could probably see a 30% reduction in IT spending surprises over the course of a year. You can look at automated contract tracking and expiry notifications. You'll be spending half the time in managing your contracts. Why? Because they're all going to be in one location and they're going to be sorted and they're going to be flagged as to what needs attention at the time you're going into the system to take a look at it. You'll be able to be more precise in cost prediction for on-premises environments. You're going to understand where your cost drivers are and how you can move the sliders around those cost factors. You'll be able to identify unused or underutilized licensing and subscriptions. Why? Because you'll see what business value you're deriving from those licenses and those subscriptions. And if you've either over or under spec'd those things, you can save money in many cases if you're overrunning a license by moving up to the next tier. Why? Because you've reached a volume level where you're going to get a smaller unit price. Or if you're way underutilizing, you can find value by reducing the size of those subscriptions and be able to make use of a less committed spend, even though you may be paying higher per unit. If you're using a lot fewer units, then you should be able to optimize your spend by bringing the committed units down. And then finally, right sizing instances and choosing cost-effective solutions. In every case, the cloud may not be the right approach. Bringing something back on-prem may be a better business and financial decision for you to make than just leaving it in the cloud or moving between cloud providers, or changing cloud providers or tiers may very well be the right way to go for you. So what does ZENfra do? ZENfra provides cost management, cost optimization, and contract and maintenance management. And it basically allows you to be more proactive, better at managing your finance, and coming up with an increased operational success rate. So how do we do this with ZENfra? Fred, are we at a point where we need to do the next poll?
Yeah, Skip, we can run the next poll, or you would like to give another couple more slide to run?
You can do the next poll now. We're at a point where we can get to that point.
All right. Yeah. Just give me a second. I can launch in a few seconds. Yes, Skip, we have launched the second poll.
Okay, we'll give you 2 minutes for that poll.
Yeah.
I see we've got a few new attendees. Thank you for joining, folks. I see one name that I recognize. Rashad, nice to see you. Okay, I'll move on to the next slide. So what is ZENfra? ZENfra is a data management platform that specializes in finance and infrastructure components. As you can see here, it takes in a bunch of inputs from a whole lot of places, from servers, switches, cloud providers, storage arrays, CMDBs, data coming in from spreadsheets, data coming in from accounts payable system, data coming in from CMDBs. And what we basically do is that all comes into a common database that we utilize, that we produce what we call, that we have product suites that come out of those. And those product suites are driven by ZenPacks. And ZenPacks are basically what we sell and deliver to customers. And that is something along the lines of privileged access management, Success 360, chargeback, vulnerability management, recommendation engines, inventory, as well as our financial operations module. So how does ZENfra work with respect to financial operations? First off is input data. The asset discovery that we do is one of several ways. One is in an automated fashion via APIs. A small VM is installed into your environment that goes out and collects all of the data from all of the various components, CMDB, servers, switches, storage, cloud accounts, spreadsheets in a directory. And we bring that into the system. Then once it's into the system, it's recognized and parsed. And that allows us to then work on delivering the various components of our financial operations solution. So first thing we do is we looked at the vendor spend each month on cloud. And it goes into what you're currently using by service name, by account name, by contract name on each vendor. And it tells you what you're looking at, what percentage of change has happened over the last 1 month, 6 months, 1 year. And it allows you to see in one place where your spend is happening by cloud vendor. Allows you to manage your cost on a very, very granular basis. You can take a look at your spend by department or spend by account within your cloud solutions as well as in your on-prem solutions, so that you can understand what departments are the biggest consumers of resources from a financial standpoint. And then on the back end, you can take a look at those and find out if that spend is equal to the business value that department is getting. On the contract maintenance side, we can work with your existing contract management system and pull data in, as well as a bunch of spreadsheets if you're doing it by spreadsheet. And we can manage this by end of support, end of life, end of service life, stuff with end of service life versions, when a contract is going to end, when it's due for renewal, what the terms are. And this brings everything in to the system. And the good thing about this is it can give you alerts. You can get an alert saying your AWS account for the accounting department is due to expire in 60 days. You need to take a look at that contract to see if it's correct. Once you get those alerts, then you can act on those alerts very proactively, rather than having to actively go look in your asset management system or having to go look actively into a spreadsheet to understand when things are coming up. Cloud optimization and savings. We also provide a very highly advanced interface that can allow you to model what your cloud spend would be in a different tier, in a different vendor, in a multi-cloud or hybrid cloud situation. And it can give you protected savings analysis, give you vendor comparisons, and it can also do tailored recommendations to tell you, you've got this level of GCP, but if you were to go to this next level because you're overrunning your existing subscription, you would effectively save 15% because your unit cost is going down. On-prem to multi-cloud cost comparison. We give you the ability to look at an operating system level what your spend would look like from on-premise infrastructure going to cloud infrastructure and what the delta of those costs would be. with different type of contracts. And that's completely customizable, where you can say, okay, I want to look at AWS with a 1-year reserve or a 3-year reserve versus Azure or GCP with the same. And you can combine those into one chart so you can see where a cloud comparison would be more beneficial to you from a financial standpoint. Another thing that we work on very, very importantly is, streamlined monitoring and very efficient tracking. You can track from everywhere to the pretty graphs that I showed you here down to the unit level. And you can look at this server running in this space and what it's costing. And oh, by the way, here are some options for that server that we could utilize to make that more efficient from a technical financial perspective. The dashboards that we provide within ZENfra are also highly customizable so that you can provide a dashboard experience for everyone from the CFO and CIO down to the departmental server admins to understand what their environment looks like. So very, very efficient use of dashboarding and very, very efficient use of screen space so that what you see on the screen is exactly what matters to you. So what are the takeaways that we would like you to take away from here? Cost management and asset inventory are extremely important in today's multi-cloud, hybrid cloud organization. Cost optimization, super important. If you can save 10% of your IT spend in a given year, you could be looking at a savings of potentially hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. Third, contract and maintenance management. That's been, I've always liked to think that contract and maintenance management has always been the stepchild of data center economics. Why? Because they're necessary. They just happen and you do them and then you worry about them 3 years later when they come up for renewal. What we're looking at here is a better way of managing those things so that you can make the management of those items an asset to the organization. Why? They can help save you money. They can help reduce complication. They can help make your IT infrastructure more efficient from a financial and technical standpoint while lowering the complexity. And how do we do that? One, our ZENfra FinOps package is a great way of bringing everything together into one place. And it's a great way of understanding and managing your environment. Two, artificial intelligence is the buzzword that everyone is talking about these days. And yeah, some of it's buzzwords, some of it's real. Within ZENfra, it's real. We're applying artificial intelligence and machine learning to your contract subscriptions, software licensing, and cloud subscriptions to allow you to better understand, manage, and optimize them. And the third key takeaway, of course, is cost savings. The whole purpose of doing this is to save money. So what are the next steps? One, we would love for you guys to engage with us so we can help you in understanding your environment and putting together a solution that meets your budget and your needs. Two, we would love to show you a real-time live demonstration of how it works from the beginning to the end and the way it's so customizable. And three, we'd like to have a meaningful discussion with you about how we can partner with you and your organization or your customers or your partners to roll this out, to make everyone a better financial operations organization and have everyone optimize their costs. So that's it for the presentation. I would like to open it up for any Q&A that people might have, and I'd love to hear from all of you. Fred, if you can open up for Q&A, or if anybody wants to go into chat and do Q&A, we'd be happy to do that.
Yes, Kippa, we have unmuted all. And yes, we have Katrina who has raised your hand. So Katrina, we have unmuted you as well. You can.
Yeah, hi, this is Katrina Phillips. I am the Sales Developmental Manager here at ZENfra. And I'm curious because I can't see who the attendees are. Just if anybody wants a follow-up reach out or to set up a demo or maybe just to have an informal kind of Q&A session, if there's any questions you need answered, I'm going to drop my information here in chat. If anybody wants to reach out, feel free to do so. Let me get that popped in there.
So thank you so much, Katrina. So guys, we have unmuted you all. You can raise a hand, or you can use Q&A, and also you can talk over here if you have any questions.
Yeah, Ben, Diana, Garrett, Michael, Richard, any questions you guys have, please feel free to enter it into the chat here, or to speak up, or if you'd prefer to speak one-on-one, Katrina has shared her information. Fred is going to share my information and his information, and Vipin's information, who couldn't be here today. And, we would be happy to work with you to see how we can help you.
Yeah, it looks like, just to let you know, it looks like I'm not able to get kind of like links and stuff there in chat. So if anybody wants to just shoot me an email, in my signature, you can book time with me automatically with my booking page, or you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Just let me know. Thank you.
If no one has any questions, we'll close out the webinar in 1 minute. Hey, thank you, Richard. We'll be sending out the slide information after the webinar. And if you have any follow-ups, Richard, just work with myself or Mark. Okay, in that case, I think we'll give you guys back some time. And we'd like to thank everyone for joining today. We hope that some of the things we had to say was enlightening and gave you pause to think. And if you'd like any further information, hit up Katrina, myself, Fred. We'd be happy to help. We'd be happy to talk, to speak with you.
Thank you so much, Skip. So everyone, we will be sharing these video shortly, and also we will be sharing the contact details of Katrina and as well as Skip. And if you'd like to connect, you can connect through LinkedIn, and also we will be sharing the contact details of both.
Thank you, everyone. Look forward to speaking with you.
Have a great day.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Have a great day, folks.